Welcome back to another episode of the Ashley Beeman Show. Today is going to be a Prep Diaries update. I am currently 16 days out from my fourth bikini competition and my first wellness competition, and I haven't given you guys an update in about 2 weeks. I think the last update that I gave you guys is where I was contemplating between should I stay bikini or should I go wellness? And I actually have an update on that. And I'll be honest, I still feel really freaking vulnerable about that episode. So if you want to see me get real vulnerable or hear me get real vulnerable, I should say, then you should definitely go check out that episode. But I have a really high energy today. I'm feeling good, and that hasn't been the case for the past couple weeks. And so I thought, you know what, I really need to share a prep update, share what's going on, how things are going, and just some new revelations that I've had. So like I said, we are currently 16 days out from my second show of this season. I have personally never done more than one show. So this is my third year competing. I started working with a coach in 2022, and then I competed in a show in 23, and then we did an off season together, and then I competed in 2024, and then last September I decided to switch coaches, and now I'm with my current coach. And last year I kind of set a goal of doing 2 shows back to back. And when I was leading up to my first show of this season, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do a second show or not. However, with the judges' feedback of telling me that I kind of didn't really fit in bikini, that maybe I would be really great at the national level, but I'm too big for the regional level. It was very confusing feedback. Again, I go into detail on that in that other episode. You can go check that out. I decided that I needed to do this second show. And a lot of the reasoning behind that is because I wanted to get in front of different judges. I wanted more feedback, and I wanted to see where I needed to go in my improvement season, because it wasn't quite clear from the feedback that I got then. And also, here's the thing. Somebody asked me, a couple things. I am getting way ahead of myself. Clearly, we have a lot of energy today. Yesterday was not the case. I was literally laying horizontal in bed doing client check-ins because I had zero freaking energy. But today we seem to be right in the vibes, right in the energy. So we are here. I actually have my iced coffee with me. So when I did my show and I had posted on TikTok that I had won like second, third, and fourth place, somebody commented underneath that and was like, are you super proud of yourself? I hope that you're super proud of yourself, and I hope that you're satisfied with this show. And I said, proud of myself? Absolutely. Satisfied? I don't know as bodybuilders that we're ever truly satisfied, but we shall see. And so, after that, moving on and going into prep, getting uncomfortable. The thing is I was comfortable with doing one show and then reverse dieting and going into improvement season. That is something that I know. That is something that I've done in the past. It's something that I'm used to. And so I know that the person that I've created through this entire past year, not just through this prep, it really started when I started working with my now coach, Rachel, that I became a new person. I created a new identity. My standards are next level. I have never been this person in the past. And so for me, choosing to do the second show was really about solidifying this person that I've created and really allowing me to embody who she is. And pushing past my level of being comfortable requires me, in order for me to solidify this next level identity, in order for me to embody her, I needed to get uncomfortable and I needed to go a little bit further. And I've done this many times in my life. In fact, I think I talked about this in maybe the last podcast episode that I did, but one of the things that I find that people have a hard time with is they set an end date to things. And then once they have that end date, then they just go back to the person that they were before. And I've known from doing other things in the past, if I kind of extend that end date and I go a little bit further, it really helps me to lock in the habits, the person that I am, the standards that I have, the boundaries that I've held through all of this. And that was part of my decision moving forward. So After our first show, we decided to kind of change up the plan. We needed my shoulders to come down. We need my waist to come down. And the only thing that I really need to work on are my glutes. So my training changed. I went from training 5 days a week. Before I was doing a leg day, like hitting all of legs. So a full leg day, a shoulder day, a back day, a leg day, and then another shoulder day. And I was also doing 2 hours of cardio. So I was walking for basically 2 hours. That was my cardio. And coming out of that, I was able to have basically a free meal after my show and dessert on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, I had another free meal with dessert on top of that, but I was intentional the rest of the day. And then I just jumped back to my plan that I was doing before on Monday after the show. We backed off. We did a 3-day deload. So I didn't work out or walk or anything for 3 days. I was actually going crazy because I am a girl who needs to get up and I need to get my body moving after I sit outside for like a good hour and a half with my coffee and my journal and my Bible. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that you see that every single morning. And so by that last day, I was like, please let me get out and walk, even if it's just a 30-minute walk. So then my training got changed. Right now I am training 4 days in the gym. I have 2 ham and glute days, 1 leg day, and then I have a really small back pump day. So upper body, we don't need much work there. And it's been different transitioning from doing 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Also because I'm doing 3 lower body days, I do need more rest. And so I'm working out on Saturdays, which I normally don't do. On the days that I work out, I started off with 25 minutes of cardio on the elliptical or either the bike. And that's also been different. I've never done anything other than walking when it has come to prep. So that was different for me. And then on the days where I'm not in the gym, I was walking an hour. And then this week, Coach upped the cardio. So now I have 35 minutes of cardio after lifting and 90 minutes of walking on the days that I am not lifting, which was really interesting because I tightened up so freaking much. So the scale has kind of just been like jumping around a little bit, but my physique has changed so much since peak week. So I did measurements. I think it was the week before peak week that I did measurements, and I have lost an entire inch in my waist since the week before my show, basically, or 2 weeks before my show, I guess you would say. And it's been interesting because we kind of backed off of what we were doing. And it's kind of been a little mind F, if I'm honest, because I was so used to having to go to get all of the things done. So I think the extra rest and recovery is really doing me well. We are right now like on super low carb, and I've actually had a refeed both Sundays. So last Sunday and the Sunday before, I was able to have a refeed. I don't think this weekend I do have a refeed, but that's okay. One foot in front of the other. We have our goal set in mind. But last weekend, my mom was in town and I was telling her like about my show and about like where we are moving forward. And I said to her, I said, you know, I am getting to the point where I'm tired. I'm getting burnt out. Today is the highest my energy has been in the past 2 weeks. I have been very, very, very low energy, just dragging. And not that like, just low energy, I guess I would say. Like, I don't want anybody to think like I'm over here dying or anything. Just being on low calories is going to do that to you. And I can't imagine, I have people that come to me that are severely under eating all of the time. And I can't imagine living day in and day out like this. Like, I am doing this to step on stage and to look a very, very certain way. I can't imagine doing this if you're just a lifestyle client. Like, there is no point in under eating because you're probably feeling like garbage. And the way that we stop feeling like garbage is we add more food in. That is a total side note, but I digress. So she's like, do you regret signing up for this next show? And I was like, absolutely not. And for a few reasons. Like I said, I needed to go the extra 4 weeks. I needed to get uncomfortable. I needed to lock in this person that I am becoming. And also, I have a very ADHD brain that gets very hyper-focused. And so the feedback that I got at my first show, like I said at the beginning, didn't really give me a direction in where I needed to go. So I know that I needed to do this next show so that I could get that feedback and I could know absolutely without a shadow of a doubt where I need to go and what I need to do in my improvement season. So with that being said, last Sunday, I went to a posing clinic. Both of my coaches came with me. And of course, I went over to the wellness side of things because I don't know wellness posing. And I have my bikini posing pretty much down. We have made some tweaks. And so I'm over there. And listen, you guys, I am the teeniest, tiniest girl in this like wellness posing. These girls look freaking amazing. The muscle that they have on their legs and their booty is just like mind blowing. And I am sitting here like almost looking at my coach and laughing like I do not belong here. This is not me. And you can tell that it wasn't me. So but I was there. I need to learn it. I already signed up for the show. So I'm doing basically 5 classes. I'm doing 3 bikini classes. I'm doing 3 bikini classes and 2 wellness classes. So I got to figure it out because either way I'm getting on that stage. So I'm there, I'm learning, and the head judge that was at my show in August was there. It is still August. The head judge that was at my last show was there. And he walks over and he's giving some girls advice. And then he looks at me and he says, "Who told you that you were wellness?" And I looked straight at him and I guess I kind of got a resting bitch face, which I don't do very often. And I said, "You told me that." And my other coach was in the background and he's like, "Smile, smile, smile." And he looks me up and down and then he has me try to hit like a figure pose because if I'm honest, like my genetics and my body is probably built for figure, but it's honest, I have zero desire to do it at this point in time. Never say never. I've learned that in my life that I could never say never. And so you never know, I may change my mind, but right now, like I don't have any desire to do that. It would either be bikini or it would be wellness. And I would need a very, very long off season. It was very clear to even grow into wellness because I am so small compared to these girls. And so, but I think I could do it if I wanted to, right? Like there's always the possibility of doing it. And if you want to hear my mind frame around that, like going back and forth between the two, that other episode is definitely one to listen to. So then he walked away and we kept posing and then he came over and he's like, "I want to pull you over on the bikini side and I want to get you on a line with these 2 girls." There was a girl who was a pro and then there was another girl who was like going to nationals or something like that along those lines. She was past the regional point. And he put me on the line and we did comparisons. And then after the comparisons, he looked at me. He's like, "You're 1,000% bikini." He's like, your body, your shoulders, everything aligned with a pro physique, bikini physique. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And it was funny because I almost backed out of going to this posing clinic. If you know me like at all, then you know that I guard my Sundays like with a lock and key. And I don't like to go do anything on Sundays, but I knew that I needed to practice. I knew that I want to get out into the community. I want to meet more girls. I want to meet more people in this industry because they're like the women and even the men in this industry have been so welcoming. There's only been one person that I really ran into online that I have kind of been rubbed the wrong way about, but there's always going to be that one person, right? So anyways, after that, I felt just like this sigh of relief. And then we were talking with another coach that was there and he was like, "Hit your front pose for me." And he tweaked some things to where my shoulders don't quite look like a figure girl and my waist looks better and my glutes look better and all of the things. So just these small, tiny tweaks have made the biggest difference in my posing. And it's really cool because posing has always been something that has been super, super hard for me. And if you've ever posed, it is like a cardio session times 20. And the way that you have to twist your body and push your body and do all these things, you're supposed to make it look effortless and it doesn't. But yesterday when I was practicing posing, I messaged my coach and I was like, it's clicked. Like I created the body and now posing isn't as hard because I don't necessarily, like there are some things that we need to hide and that we need to tweak while we're posing. But for the most part, like I did this. I created this this body, and now it's easier because I can just show the physique that I've created rather than trying to twist it and force it to be a certain way. So I'm really excited to get on stage and see what happens. I did feel like when I left there, I was like, should I even step on the wellness stage? Because am I going to be making a fool of myself? But then I had to remind myself that no, I will not be making a fool of myself. It'll be an experience. It'll be really cool to be judged both bikini and wellness and just hear what the feedback is from that. But it really just solidified that I am right where I need to be and I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, and we're headed in the right direction. So after that, this week, like I said, energy has been super, super low besides today. I don't know what is different, to be honest. My best friend asked me this morning, she's like, what do you think is different now that you have so much energy today? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe my body is just adjusting to the new protocol and it's just used to being on low carbs. Not quite sure, but I'm going to take any energy that I have. It has definitely been up and down kind of roller coaster ride, and to the point where like, I'm like, okay, like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? But I have to remind myself to go back and to be where my feet are. The one thing that I refuse to do is rush this journey in any way. I am not here just to win. I'm not here just for a body. I am here for the experience. I am here to make myself better. I am here for the personal growth that happens through the process. And so if I am wishing away this prep, then I'm doing myself a disservice. I don't want to go into show day and have it go by in a blink of an eye and regret it, because I can tell you now that I'm like looking back at my show last year in June of 2024, I definitely was just ready for it to be over, and I was ready to get the show over with. I didn't want to be there. I wasn't supported in the way that I wanted to be supported, and there was just like so many things going on behind the scenes, and it is what it is, and I needed to be able to experience it. But it was night and day difference with my second show. I was present. I was there. I had put in the reps for an entire year. I had up-leveled my standards and my boundaries and the way that I showed up and the way that I communicated with my coach and all of these things. And it made such a difference. So I've had to call myself out and be like, we're not rushing this process. We are here. We are where our feet are, and we're putting one foot in front of the other. Luckily, I have the best support system ever between my two coaches that I have, Rachel and Brandon, and my husband and my kids, my sister, my friends, just everybody who is there to support me and that knows that this is just a little season that I'm going through, and we are just putting one foot in front of the other. So the other thing that does happen with prep, and I don't feel like a lot of people talk about this, is I would say like most of prep is very, very mental. And when we deplete ourselves, we also like don't have a lot of tolerance for BS. And if there's anything that you've really been like dealing with in your life, or maybe you haven't dealt with, like there's shit that in your life that you probably just don't want to deal with, and you avoid it by being busy and ignoring it and all those things, I can promise you without a shadow of a doubt, all of those things are gonna come up in prep. And sure enough, something has come up over this past week where I knew that it was something that I had to work on and I had to deal with. And when it first started to happen, I like spiraled really bad, and I just reminded myself to give myself some space, let it be, and like not make a decision. If you know me at all, I always talk about having boundaries around my emotions. I don't make decisions based on my emotions, whether they are high or whether they are low. I just kind of ride them out until I'm in a neutral space. And luckily enough, I was able to ride out the situation that happened. And I don't know if I'll ever really talk about it. It's nothing to do with anything that I share or I talk about or anything. And it's honestly not even that big of a deal. It was just something that absolutely triggered me. And so I'm just grateful for the way that I did not react to it, the way that I led myself through it. And I can just tell by that we are solidifying who I am. I was almost like, is God testing me? I know that like people say that God doesn't test you, but maybe in a sense, like, I don't know. I could go into a lot of things and people are going to have opinions, but it is what it is. Either way, like something was trying to come after me and kind of bring me down, and I refused to let that happen. And so I've been able to work through that situation, and I'm really excited to move forward. The past couple weeks have been really kind of, I don't want to say easy, but like my schedule has not have been as busy. We haven't had a lot of plans. The kids aren't too busy. And so I've had more downtime, which is also really cool because my word for this year was peace. And one of the things that I wanted to solidify through this process was slowing down, being in the moment, like I talked about, and also having more peace in my life. And even with like shit coming up and having to deal with past things that I haven't dealt with before, I feel more grounded and more at peace than I've ever felt in a long time, even when I'm tired. And so that's been a really cool thing to experience. But these next 2 weeks are actually super busy. So tomorrow we leave to go out of town, to visit my in-laws for the weekend. And then the following weekend, I'm going to a concert on Saturday night, which is absolutely crazy that I'm going to a concert the day before peak week starts, but we are going to figure it out. We're going to do what we need to do, and we are going to go have a good time. We're going to live our life. And I want to show people that yes, like prep is important, but it's not the only thing that happens in your life. And maybe you're not able to navigate all of these different things that I have navigated through this prep, like vacations and conventions and speaking engagements and going on trips and visiting people and going to concerts and all of those things. Maybe that's something that you'll experience in a later prep, but I do think it's important for us to still have a life and not just shut everybody out to be into prep, because that's not sustainable at all. And stepping on stage is just one part of your life. It's just one day. And bodybuilding is just part of my life. Yes, it's part of who I am, but it's not my entire life. And so for me, I try not to bring other people down with me while I'm going through prep. Now, obviously, like I have conversations with my husband and with my kids, the people that are like living with me all of the time, and they know where my boundaries lie and how they need to support me in the same ways that I support them. There are times where I will sacrifice myself to support them, and there are times where they get to sacrifice themselves to support me. And it's a two-way street. But otherwise, other people in my life, I want to show up for them. I want to do things. There are times where I do say no. But next Saturday, I think communication is absolutely key. So I personally like to communicate my boundaries. I like to communicate what's happening to people around me so that there's no question about things. So next weekend when we go to the concert, I'm going with my sister and my mom and my aunt, and I sent them all a text and I said, listen, I don't know what my protocol is going to be like next week. It's probably going to depend on what my pictures look like on Monday and Friday of next week. However, there's a chance that I could have a refeed day. There's a chance that I could not have a refeed day. But I don't want that to stop anybody from going out to dinner. You make your plans and I will adjust my plans around them. If I have to eat before we go out to dinner and sit there and have a Diet Coke or water or whatever it is while you guys eat, I am willing to do that. But don't hold back because of me. Like, I will never make anybody feel bad because I'm in prep, because this is a decision that I made. This is something that I choose to do, and it's not anybody else's responsibility other than mine. And so I just made it like clear, like this is my boundary around my food and what's going to happen. And then, I don't have any expectations of you guys. Just go do your thing, go have fun. I will be there in the way that I can be there. So that's a little bit of a recap of where we're going. I'm excited. I'm at the point where things change freaking daily. And it's really, really cool to see. My shoulders have come down a lot, which is what we needed to happen. And hopefully we get to feed into this show. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions at all, let me know. And just a reminder, I share all of the ins and outs of my prep inside of Prep Diaries on my Instagram channel. If you want to go check that out, you will hear all the things. Like, I'm super, super vulnerable in there. I share voice messages almost kind of daily about what's going on, how I'm feeling, and all of the things. So you can see the ups and downs and in-betweens. I don't find that a lot of people do that. And I was wishing that somebody was doing it. So I decided to do it myself. All right, that is it for this episode. If you guys like this, let me know, screenshot it, tag me on Instagram, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.